Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So today I've got some really big good news for you finally. Looks like the ATF and their rulemaking process are headed up to the Supreme Court. Now you guys know how the ATF has pretty much taken over the whole gun control agenda. I mean, if they don't like something, they redefine it, and that allows them to reclassify it, make it fall under some existing law, and then, they simply call it a rule. Completely subverting Congress. Congress is supposed to make law. The ATF is simply supposed to enforce it. That's it. But that's not what they've been doing. They've been basically creating new laws that create millions of felons overnight. Well, that's headed up to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court actually decides to hear it, which I think they will, and I'll explain it to you in this video, we could see all of that overturned. From the bump stock to the braces, all of that could be done. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on. This channel is proud to be sponsored by SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. Have you ever wanted to learn more about gunsmithing, firearms repair, or shooting sports management? Enroll in one of SDI's online programs or courses to take your hobby to the next level. Payment plans and funding options are available, so visit the link below or call 480-999-4767 to learn more. Okay, so the case that we're talking about today that's headed up to the Supreme Court for review is Guedes v. ATF. Now, this case specifically deals with bump stocks, but moreover, it deals with the whole rulemaking process that got them placed under the GCA, the same rulemaking process that got braces placed under the NFA. So it's really the whole rule and rulemaking process that is sitting in front of the Supreme Court right now. But like I said before, it's under review, which means that the Supreme Court can decide whether or not they want to take it or send it back down to the lower courts. But the reason I think that the Supreme Court is going to take this one is because there are differing opinions amongst the appellate courts. So we have several different circuit courts, these appellate courts, who have heard different cases on pretty much the same thing. So you have different people who file lawsuits in different districts, and they end up at different circuit courts. We have a total of 4 in this case, so 4 that have been dealing with this. Now the thing is here is we have 2 courts who say that the ATF is allowed to do it, it's perfectly fine, it's constitutional. Then we have 2 other courts who say no, it's unconstitutional, and that the ATF is not allowed to do this, and have placed injunctions and other things like that. So again, 2 courts yes, 2 courts no. The Supreme Court cannot ignore that. They can't ignore that they have 4 different appellate courts who have looked at essentially one case and came out with different conclusions. The Supreme Court is there to clarify this type of thing. So that's why I think the Supreme Court will take this. And if they take it, just based on, current history of events and outcomes, especially today on the anniversary of Bruen, I think that absolutely we could be seeing a pretty big win here that would affect pretty much the entire rulemaking process by the ATF. I think they would force it to go through the legislation and through Congress, which would be a huge win. I mean, the biggest win since Bruen. Now, the decisions in these types of cases almost always end up being more broad than the original case itself, just like in Bruen, where Bruen was dealing with New York's carry scheme, and it ended up overturning, just decades of gun control just based on the fact that they changed how the lower courts are supposed to look at Second Amendment cases and how they're supposed to deal with things, and it also clarified our right to carry outside of the home. And so again, while it just dealt with that New York thing, it really ended up changing the entire country. So as you saw, Bruen ended up, through the opinion of Justice Thomas, really ended up changing everything. And that's, again, what we could be seeing here is what the Supreme Court could do is it could stop the ATF's overreach. And it seems like that's what the Supreme Court has been doing lately with these bureaucracies, is kind of reining in the bureaucracies and saying, hey, look, you guys are overstepping your bounds. These are things that are supposed to be legislated. These are the types of things that are supposed to be created by Congress only. And if Congress wants to enact them, then we can go from there. But these agencies aren't allowed to overstep their authority and do what they've been doing. And so that's what we could be getting out of this. And that could be massive, again, like I was saying, for the entire country. And when the Supreme Court rules, that's it. That's the law, right? There's no other higher court than that. So again, this could be massive. Again, I think that they will take it. And just based off how the Supreme Court's been lately, I think that we could see a win out of this. So I am really excited. We're going to follow it. The the Supreme Court basically puts out a list of everything that they're going to be deciding whether or not they want to hear or not, and then they put out another list saying what they've decided to hear in the next session and stuff like that. So we'll be able to tell whether or not they accept the review or whether or not they kick it back down to the lower court, maybe with some instruction. But again, I think that they're going to accept this one, and I'll keep you guys up to date because I think this is probably the most important case that we've had since Bruen. So again, it's a really exciting and very interesting, and I will keep you guys up to date. Thank you all very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.